Before the end of this month. They're virtual. They're just another spiel. I'm sure they're making okay.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to get started in the next few minutes, so get on the spot.
Who knows what he really thinks?
Although,
You say this is oh, really? Oh, sorry. Yeah.
they have a store that has a subway. But they have snow farming. You gotta get that
As a member, if I got to pay it, I'd say, I know what's follow their
Okay, we're going to call this meeting to order. I think it's about 7 o'clock. And we have a couple things that we want to get done tonight, so we are going to try to stay on schedule. Did everyone pick up an agenda from out front at the check-in table? Did everybody get the check-in? We have some agendas out front and some other flyers and handouts that you might want to make sure you take advantage of. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming out tonight. I know that we have a smaller crowd than normal. I did talk to a few people that told me they are working the elections and helping with early voting. So they are tied up, and I was talking to Donna Castor. She's over at Jurgens Hall, and she told me that she's going to try her best. Last night she said they closed at 7, but she didn't finish up until about 8. So we know that we have very active people in this room, and those that are not with us right now. I am on Facebook Live, so if you ever have to miss a meeting, I try to record them. It is on my personal Facebook page, and then I will share it to the Texas Truth Movement page, our group page, so that everybody can watch the meeting if they weren't able to see it. The Texas Truth Movement is dedicated to equipping individuals with the truth they need to navigate in today's world. Through discernment, political education, and adherence to our guiding principles, which are rooted in faith, truth, freedom, and accountability, we strive to inform citizens and shape public policy for the betterment of our state. And we thank you for all the members who have joined this year. We really appreciate the support of your presence and your financial support. That's really helped us to be able to bring the various speakers that we've had. Some of them require travel expenses, all the things we get printed, and our website, things like that. So thank y'all very much for everyone who has joined and for all our visitors here tonight. We are going to start with our prayer and pledges, so if you would stand, we appreciate that, if you're able. Yeah.
Join me in prayer, please. Father God, first I want to thank you for motivating and enabling our forefathers to create in this country a unique form of government, a constitutional republic. Father, we know the foundation of that is participation. We have a responsibility and a right to vote. So, Father, I pray that you would motivate each and every one of us to motivate others and to enable them to fulfill their responsibilities and vote. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
and to the Texas flag.
Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Please be seated.
Thank you very much. Mr. Tapp, appreciate that. Okay, we would like to acknowledge any of our elected officials, our guests, and I know we have at least one precinct chair. I think there's another one coming. So would you like to stand and tell us what precinct you're with?
I'm Steve Sands, I'm the precinct chairman of 828. Marietta Jackson's precinct.
Yeah. Thank you, Steve, for coming. Do we have any other precinct chairs here tonight? All right. Do we have any precinct leads? You all know what precinct leads are?
Oh yeah.
Well, stand up. And I'm a precinct lead too. So precinct leads are, Donna and I have both been assigned. We adopted precincts and they assigned them to us. And yours is in Tomball also, right? Do you know that number?
0127.
0127. Anybody from Tomball in 0127? I'm in Tomball also. That's my adopted precinct. And mine is 1142. Anybody in my precinct? My Tomball precinct. Okay. So if you want to know more about those positions, those are volunteer positions, and we get all the information just like a precinct chair does, but we don't get to vote, but we do help those areas that no one stepped up in those precincts to call and encourage people to come out and vote and do all that kind of stuff. So that's what a precinct lead is, and they need plenty of them. And there's a pretty good number of us that have adopted precincts. All right. We will now approve the minutes from September, and I think I just sent them to you last night or the night before. Diana did print some and put them on the tables. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? Diana is very detailed and gives us tons of information from every meeting. So if you miss a meeting for next month, she does fill you in on everything that was shared. A lot of good information. So any revisions and corrections? Okay, if not, the minutes are adopted as presented. And I want to thank everyone who came out to our final general meeting. This is our last meeting of the 2024. We are having a Christmas party, and I just want to really encourage you. Our Christmas party is on December 3rd. It's a Tuesday night. We will open the doors at 6 o'clock, and dinner will be served at 6:30. If you haven't been to Cisco Salsa's company lately, they have some good food, and we're trying to pull together a silent auction. So if anyone has some great ideas, we'd love to hear them. Tickets are for the members $40, and for guests they are $50. We actually are subsidizing part of your ticket. I don't know, how many of you go to the grocery store and the groceries are like $500 your weekly, or anyway, it's incredible how much food costs. But they are going to have a great, I think we're having the Fiesta dinner, and we have dessert and drinks and things, and there is an open a cash bar. And if you didn't bring your money or you want to send it by Zelle, we do have that option. Or if you want to send a check the old-fashioned way, we do have a mailbox that Texas Street Movement. If you need more information, let me know, and I'll be reminding people. The deadline for buying a ticket is November 3rd. So if you didn't bring your money tonight, we will take a check, and we really hope that the members will participate. This is going to be a little different. Our goal is to help us get to know each other better, other like-minded people that live in this area. So we encourage you to purchase a ticket. It's a great meal. They have a special banquet room. They decorate for us and set it all up, and they have music, and all we have to do is show up and have a good time. So we appreciate it, and we are going to have a Christmas committee. So if anybody's interested in that, we would love to get to see you more. Robin Townley's helping with that, and I am, and Monica. So just let us know. We'd love to have you join us. Last fall, when we started this organization, we were not sure what a Texas grassroots conservative, if it would catch on or not, but we have seen that there is interest in our community to come and get together. Tonight we are going to do an election, so if you're a member in good standing and have attended at least one meeting and have paid your dues, you will be eligible to vote. And I just want to thank the officers and board members who have served this past year, helping us get started, and all the time and energy. Appreciate all that dedication and just all your energy and ideas. We couldn't have done it without everybody who has participated. So how many of you have voted on Monday or Tuesday? Good, okay. Well, the good news is I've heard the lines are long, that there's a lot of action going on at the polling locations, which is great. Like I said, I am a precinct lead for Tomball, and every day I get voting results, so I only have plenty to tell you about. But in my precinct, there were 4 Democrats who voted on Monday, 18 independent, and 21 Republican. I'm not sure what all this means. If we were just looking at the Republicans and Democrats, it was like 5 Republicans for every 1 Democrat. But we don't know what those independents are out there doing. So who knows what they're choosing. But we do have numerous members in our group running for office. And so we did put a couple of their signs. We have Denise Morrison is a member of our club, and she is running for a school board position in Klein. Jennifer Crackey is running in Tomball for a trustee's position. And then there are other positions. We do have Paul Betancourt's wife is a member of our group. He's running for Texas State Senate District 7 again. And Judge James Lombardino is a candidate for Harris County Justice of the Peace, Precinct 5, Place 1, if you live in that area. I think he said kind of like Jersey Village is where he is. Mark Ramsey is running for North Harris County Regional Water Authority, District 4 Director. He is a member of our group. And Valerie Swanson is running for Texas House of Representatives. She's Texas House of Representatives. She's in District 150. So if you haven't voted and you need some tips, I'd be glad to share. I made a little flyer myself, and just what I plan to do with my little flyer is, in my precinct, I will go around and just, put them on the doors, and so people that live in Klein or Tomball, because I'm kind of on the cusp of all these different school districts, so I'm sure they have friends and relatives. I know they do all around us. So I'm encouraging them to vote for people that I think are going to do a good job. Okay. So Robin, you ready to do the elections? Robin Townley she is our chair for the nominations committee, and she's going to help us walk through this process.
Well, I'm going to do my best. I'm sure if I need help, I have some help here to help me through it. It is that season again, and it's all things voting. It's voting season, so who best to do it? Get the ball rolling in Texas Truth Movement, right? It's so exciting that we are about to embark on the 2nd year. I mean, I can't believe we're going to say that 2nd year. So anyways, moving forward with that 2nd year, we have the election of the 2025 officers and the slate that was presented last month, which you may remember. I'm going to ask the candidates to stand. They are, and you have this ballot right here in front of you. Mary Ann Jackson, President. Monica Dean, standing for Vice President of Membership. And then Robert Jackson for Vice President of Programs. Secretary Donna Castor.
Donna's working the election.
Oh, that's right. And then Treasurer Gary Gray. There we go. These are our candidates on the slate on your ballot. I think Marianne already announced the requirements for voting. So if everybody who has a piece of paper, Monica has checked, and you can vote. But we also last month took nominations from the floor. And at this time, we're gonna take, are there any nominations from the floor? This time, no nominations? Okay, I'm gonna close the nominations, and then I'm gonna ask for just a vote. Raise your hand. All in favor, say aye for the slate that was presented. Aye. Okay. These are our new officers for 2025. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. So the next thing on our agenda is our Constitution and Rights Committee Chair. And Megan Jasper has been serving in that position. And Megan is going to share her experience with trying to donate these little Constitution books. And so we have given you a lot of stuff on the table. There's stickers and badges and buttons and stuff. That's all free. But we are going to pass around a few of these books so that you can see what she's talking about. But these books are $10 each, and we're giving them to a class, so please don't keep it because we're giving it to a child. So we're going to pass a few around so you can just kind of get an idea of what it's like. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so this started with Constitution Day, which was September 17th, and we wanted to donate these children's constitutions to my son's 4th grade class at Lakewood Elementary School. Well, there's a process. They have to vet the book, so I had to submit one of these books to them for them to review with a form. I received my answer on Friday, and they declined it. They would not take these constitutions for the kids, even though I'll say 4th grade TEKS has the Constitution on it. The kids are supposed to learn about the Constitution in 4th grade. They said no, that it promotes alcohol. Find the alcohol. I think it's the 18th to 21st Amendment.
Right.
Okay.
Like they don't see beer at?
So they totally declined it. I have the letter. I sent a little presentation to Marianne, and it was too late with the denial of it. However, in some books, like Flamer, that's it, that's right there. That's what they said no to. And I'll tell you, this is like, for children, it's illustrated. So of course there's pictures on every page.
Question, did they tell you where there's moving?
Yeah. It's right here, it's just in the book. This is because they were no, I think, and it was also the content as well about the alcohol. So they declined to accept these books. But there's books like Flamer, which we've seen where a young child, 2 young boys are together and they ejaculate into a Mountain Dew cup. There's pictures of it.
Is that in the libraries or where?
Some libraries, yes, in schools. This is what we've been fighting. And another, like the Handmaid's Tale graphic novel, not the book, but the graphic novel, where it's just a lot of sex scenes and then people having sex and graphic. So these are the type of books. This is what's happening in America now. This is okay, but this is not.
So is that recommended on the reading list or something, these books?
These are not. These are, some of these books are in the libraries of the school. in public schools.
What district was
This is Tomball ISD. So I'm filing a formal grievance tomorrow about this issue because this is not okay. I think children in America need to love our country, and having founding documents is one of the ways to get children to grow up to love the country and not hate it. Because I feel like that's the indoctrination right now, is for children to hate their country. And we will not have a country left if if you hate it. So I definitely will be pushing back on this. This is not okay. It's a constitution. There's nothing additional with it. So it's just bizarre to me. So I wanted to let you know that's where we're at with the students' constitution. And by the way, this organization that Marianne got these from, it's called FLAG. It's the Foundation for Liberty and American Greatness. And I believe the person that started FLAG has written a book, several books actually. And this constitution has been sent to like 1.7 million schools, I believe. Yeah, or 1.7 million children in schools. But and I believe that the person that did this as well was a speaker here at the Old Yellow News. So he came here. So that's all. That's what's going on, and I will definitely be fighting this because it is a little cool. So thanks.
Just a question, do we know who was on the committee?
We don't know, and that's what I'm planning on finding out. Is it was a library committee that denied it.
Is there a record of it where you can use the Freedom of Information Act where we can release that information so people know in Tomball how bad their schools have gotten, putting that garbage in and not allowing the Constitution?
Yes, that's a good idea. I can do that.
Can the publisher help anything, give them background letters to the school board?
So I believe Marianne reached out to the he asked if the publisher could do anything and help with this. And Marianne did reach out to the publisher, and they were not happy about this. Their jaw was on the floor like mine was about this. So that is something we're looking into, yes.
Does the committee have a list of do's and don'ts that they will and will not accept in literature or books that are put to them?
I was actually searching for that on the website, on Tomball's website, and I haven't been able to find it. Also, they don't have the name of the committee members, or even that there is a committee. I didn't know that they had a library committee, to be honest. So these are things I'm looking into right now. And I will be doing, like this gentleman said, about a Freedom of Information Act request about some of these other books that are at the school, and then, not allowing the Constitution. I did go in and look at the elementary school libraries books today online, because you can, and I just put in search for Constitution, and they do have some Constitution books in the school library. But they didn't have this particular one, and I couldn't see the pictures in them, because some of them were like a student constitution. I don't know if the pictures are. And to get into my son's school, to go to his library is like Fort Knox, like having a parent go look in the library.
We know why.
They don't want you to know what's in there.
They don't want to know. So, and side note, vote for Jennifer Cracky for Tomball ISD. She's amazing. I will tell you one of the little shady goings on that just happened on Thursday. Jennifer, her son plays baseball, and one of the kids on her son's baseball team, they own a local franchise off 249 and Spring Cypress. Kind of by Main Event, they sell steaks, and they allowed Jennifer to put her sign up in front of their establishment, which is a really good location off 249. And one of the Tomball school board trustees called the headquarters for the franchise and complained, and made the franchise owner take it down. However, my friend owns Captain Brad's, and she's a patriot. Hooked her up with Brittany, who owns Captain Brad's, and so now Jennifer has her sign on the other side of 249 in front of Captain Brad's. So, but I just want to throw that out there. That is some dirty politics, and when they call and complain, even though she had permission, it was legal. So yeah, that's what's going on right now. Thank you.
So we did contact the publishing company, Nick Adams and his staff in Florida, and I asked them, I told them, hey, we got this letter that denied the book because of this picture of alcohol and the content. I mean, the letter that Tom Ball wrote not only said that picture, but it also said the content of the book. So as you see, one of the judges, I think it was Anthony Scalia, I sent it to all the board members. Y'all remember all that? Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, so the letter says, the TISD Instructional Approval Committee discussed the requested text and decided to deny the addition of this text to our approved list for 4th grade at this time, following TISD primary and secondary source selection guidance. The committee determined that the text contains content that is not appropriate for students at the 4th grade level. The potentially controversial content also contained within this text includes age-inappropriate illustrations of alcohol. Please note that every member of the committee read this resource in the entirety prior to making this decision. And it does have that, it was donated by the Texas Truth Movement. And so you had to fill out this form. And so we, Megan did everything that she needed to do, but it's just kind of like what you want to know is in July of 23, I don't know if y'all remember this, but our group, we were, many of us in this room were part of the Yellow Rose, and we hosted an event in Tomball to talk about the dirty books. We highlighted what had happened in Klein with Donna Cox and her granddaughter, and the books that they were assigned for a dual credit course in English. But anyway, I just wanted y'all to know that they know who we are. They know that, you know, we have put out there about the pornography, and so I think this is their way of kind of getting back at us, saying, no, we deny that you're able to put in this little Constitution book. But the only way the districts know that you're upset with them, we can go speak at the school boards, which I'm going to keep that on my agenda. And they also, but you have to do this formal filing of a grievance, which is a lengthy process. It's like being an attorney. You have to fill out all these, you know, right? Donna can show you her notebook. That's so thick. But you start, and that's the first step, is you fill out this grievance process, and it's a 3-step process. But it just kind of lets you know, like Megan said, where we are in our schools. So if you don't think fighting for these school board elections is important, I can't tell you enough. And so I highly encourage you, on the last email I sent out to all the members, I put some of the Sign Up Genius things for Klein, by Denise Morrison, who is a member, and by Jennifer Cracky, who is a member. So we encourage you to help us campaign. If you know, we're not endorsing as a club, but individuals are needed to stand outside and you know, even just hold up, you know, the sign with their name on it and pass out some push cards, because a lot of people coming to vote, they're going to come to vote for the president, and they know who's running that, but they really probably don't know who is running for school board positions. So you can sign up on the Sign Up Genius. That lets these people kind of have a break, that, you know, they're trying to do this for 12-hour days. How many weeks? 2 or 3 weeks of this. 2 weeks, and then November 5th. So anybody that can help out, and, you know, I don't plan on standing up the whole time. I mean, you can bring your lawn chair, bring your cap, wear your patriotic t-shirt, your Christian t-shirt, whatever you like, and hold your sign, and that is like tremendous publicity for these candidates. And if they have questions, people will walk up to you, or you can ask them Are you voting here at Klein? Because in the Tomball Public Works, you can hit both Klein and Tomball people are out there. Also at the Lone Star College Creekside. Those are both Tomball and Klein. So I signed up on both of these people's sign up genius, and I'm going to work both school districts. We're going to show these people that they may win, and but we're not going to do it just sitting there handing it over to them. They're going to have to earn it. Okay, so we have tonight. I'm going to let Priscilla introduce our feature speaker.
Okay, we're going to have a great presentation tonight. All right, Pat Blair has been a lead researcher with iVoter Guide since October of 2021. iVoter Guide is the nation's largest candidate research organization focused exclusively on informing and mobilizing voters with biblical values. They don't just tell you who's running, they tell you what they believe. Their deep dive voter guides have been used by millions of faith-based voters over a decade, and they impact elections. Their voters have swung hundreds of races, resulting in more strong, faith-first candidates in office every election cycle. Their slogan is grounded in God, rooted in research. In addition to working with iVoter Guide, Pat serves on the board of the Conservative Coalition of Harris County. She was on the board of a local Texas Federated Republican Women's Club for 10 years. Her political mentors are Thomas Sowell, David Horowitz, Andrew Breitbart, and Rush Limbaugh. And her favorite president is Calvin Coolidge. Please help me welcome Ms. Pat Blair.
Is this what you need?
No,
Okay.
this is what I need, as soon as we can get it up.
Okay.
Lost signal.
Okay. So thanks for inviting me. And I'm excited to share the iVoter Guide story with you all.
Closer to the mic.
Closer to the mic. Is the mic on? No, it's not on. I don't hear it. Now it's on. Okay. All right. So thanks for inviting me, and I'm excited to share the iVoter Guide story with you tonight. So iVoter Guide was founded in 1983, literally in a 3-ring binder. It went digital in 2008 and nationwide in 2012. In 2021, iVoter Guide became a division of American Family Association. Some of our partners include Texas Values, Family Research Council Action, and Tea Party Patriot Action. Over 60 affiliate organizations help to distribute iVoter Guide, including Concerned Women for America, Faith Wins, Eagle Forum, Patriot Academy, Rick Scarborough's Recover America Now, True the Vote, and Wall Builders. Our core values are objective truth, marriage and family, the sanctity of life, stewardship, and religious liberty.
Because of our faith in God and love for country, we're dedicated to preserving the Judeo-Christian values of our founding fathers. Our freedom is under attack by people and judges we've elected, but the power still rests with the people. The most important thing is to bring people to Christ. The second most important thing is to preserve the freedom to do the most important thing. That's William Federer, who's an historian, author, and pastor. Furthermore, you shall elect out of all the people able men who fear God, men of truth, those who hate dishonest gain, and appoint them as officials over thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. So, how do we find these people? Able men and women who fear God, seek truth, and hate dishonest gain. That's why iVoter Guide exists. So let me paint you a big picture. These statistics are from David Barton and represent a 10-year average. So on average, state by state, 65% of eligible voters are registered to vote. In a presidential election, 60% of registered voters vote. 60% of 65 is 39%. To win, a candidate must get 50% plus one, which means about 20% of eligible voters are choosing who is ultimately elected. The fewest voters turn out to vote in the party primary, but that's the place where 80% of legislators are selected because of gerrymandered districts. Presidential primaries see about a 15% turnout, but turnout decreases in midterm elections, runoffs, and municipal and local elections. The Texas runoff in 2016 had a turnout of 2.5% of registered voters. Here's the story on local and school board elections. 6% of registered voters vote, which means that 4% of those who are eligible actually vote, and 2% of registered voters choose the winner. So does this explain how the left took over education? What's an undervote? When you don't know anything about the candidate and skip casting a vote in that race. An average of 30 to 45% of ballots have at least one undervote. In nonpartisan races like school board elections, the rate of undervoting exceeds 50%. This is not a lack of motivation, but a lack of information. And iVoter Guide sees that as an opportunity. As individual Christians, we do not want to be guilty of burying our vote by not voting or not voting wisely. But remember what happened to the steward in Matthew 25 who buried his talent. George Barna said that voter guides are the most influential election resource, and the further down the ballot, the more users rely on voter guides. Sadly, a new George Barna study just released has found that as many as 85 million Christians are unlikely to vote in this election. These findings highlight the alarming number of projected uncast voters from Christian Americans whose participation is crucial this election. A September Pew Research survey indicated that 61% of Protestant voters support Donald Trump, whereas 37% of Protestants support Kamala Harris. 1 out of 6 of these unlikely voters expressed that they would probably vote if their church had taught that voting is a biblical responsibility. Yeah. The study shows 61% of Christians said that their churches have provided sermons or teachings about the biblical stances on specific issues, and 56% said their churches have encouraged their congregations to vote. Barna emphasized that these findings should encourage churches and Christians to vote. If church leaders, family members, and close friends will use their influence to get reticent voters from their churches to cast a ballot on November 5th, he said, the election outcome will be meaningfully affected. Based on the statistics I showed you 2 slides back, one large church has enough votes to take over a local or district election. iVoter Guide has the information not available elsewhere that Christian conservatives need to cast an informed ballot. This is what you will see when you visit our website. iVoterGuide.com. The following slides give you a tour of how each voter will see the ballot personalized to their own zip code or voting address. This makes the tool not only easy to use, but also shareable to friends and family across the nation. In addition to the ballot information, this website also has resources valuable to the voter, including finding their polling place, registering to vote, and important dates on the election calendar in their state. Alternately, you can click on any state to get an upcoming election information and the latest candidate research. Notice the links to the most recent past election on the right, and direct links to the resources to register to vote, get an absentee ballot, or find a polling location. iVoter Guide does not just research candidates, but we also evaluate candidates from the top of the ballot to the bottom. We've added far left to the political spectrum gauge. I want to show you that. You can see it's small there next to the candidate's picture. Just go all the way to the end of the list, and it'll show the, there you go, there it is. Okay, we've actually added far left to this gauge, and it's so far left that it broke the gauge and it falls below the line. And so I encourage you, when you look up your ballot on iVoter Guide, look at Harris Walls. We create a profile page for each candidate that contains all the information we can find on a candidate all in one place, including links to the candidate's website and social media accounts. We want you to be able to see all the data for yourself. The candidate profile page is ordered with the most important evidence of actions at the top. These factor more highly in the candidate valuation, starting with a list of scorecards that this legislator received from both conservative and liberal organizations, each with an average. If this candidate held public office, this is the best predictor of how they will vote in the future, because it's how they voted on legislation in the past. Last election, we had over 450 scorecards. Similarly, we get endorsements from over 9,000 endorsing organizations and individuals, all gathered into one place, like a job reference for candidates. These people say that this is their favorite candidate in this race. What a candidate does with their pocketbook is the next most important data point. Contributions is very indicative of what's important to them. The money is an indication of their values. iVoter Guide is unique in providing this information to voters in that we go to the source, the Federal Election Commission, and state campaign finance reporting agencies, and we download their entire records for the past 10 years into our database. Our goal is to gather all the political intelligence we can find on a candidate. For items that don't fit into the other categories like interviews, candidate forums, surveys, or in this example, a link to the information gathered from another source, we place that in the other information section. Each candidate is also given every opportunity to answer our broad spectrum issues questionnaire. Because we have multiple partners, we get a higher than normal survey completion rate, typically over 50% in the Republican Party primary. We've divided the 35 questions on the questionnaire into topics to make it easier for the voter to find the questions that are important to them. The questionnaire is tailored to the position. So it's a different questionnaire for a federal candidate than for a state candidate than for a school board candidate. iVoter Guide's candidate questionnaire seeks to include all the key issues important to conservative voters, starting with right to life, religious liberty, and values. We also include topics like elections, economy, immigration, education, public safety, equality, and more. You can help us get this survey answered by telling candidates or your representative to accept our invitation to complete the questionnaire when they receive it each election cycle. As Christians, it's beneficial when a candidate shares their spiritual beliefs. We know that worldview informs political philosophy. Because voters cannot always trust the media or the candidate's campaign rhetoric, and frequently lack the time and resources to research the candidate on their ballot, iVoter Guide does the research for them across the nation and down the ballot. We use both conservative and liberal and both federal and state level organization scorecards. At last count in this election, we've consulted over 700 legislative scorecards. We search over 102 million donation records. We check over 9,000 endorsing organizations and individuals. Our survey asks the candidate about a broad spectrum of issues, and our candidate evaluations are done by vetted and trained volunteers and reviewed by staff and leadership. iVoter Guide went digital in 2008 and nationwide in 2012, and we're growing every year. In 2022, we spent over 52,000 hours researching over 13,000 candidates. We average 4 hours per candidate to research and evaluate. That includes nearly 600 school board candidates. We educated 6.8 million voters. We had a direct impact in 254 conservative victories, and we contributed to 2,523 more conservative wins. We offer this tool free to you to be an informed voter. Right before I got here, I looked up how many school board members there are across the country. It's 95,000. We often get asked, why didn't you do my school district? That's why. I'll talk about that in a second, about how we pick which ones we do. Our coverage of candidates grew by 3.5 times in just 4 years, while usage by voters grew by more than 6 times in the same time frame. Hey Chas, can you go to the next slide? There we go. That's the growing by 3.5 times over 4 years and 6 times over the same time frame for the usage. Wow. More clicking. There we go. And it's trending upward for 2024. iVoter Guide is nationwide, and we go down ballot in 36 states. To the next slide. There we go. We identify crucial school board races with the help of tracking organizations. We're also looking at media stories about which ones are the problem children, where there are issues in particular school districts. This election, we're covering 45 ballot measures in 24 states. iVoter Guide is relevant to your friends and family across the nation, so please share with them. In a few minutes, I'm going to show you 3 examples of how our impact on voting in the special congressional election in a border district in Texas, in a statewide election in North Carolina, looking specifically at the state Supreme Court, and in the Katy ISD school board election.
Can I ask a question about that slide? What were the colors on there for? Blue, orange, and green?
The previous.
Yeah, previous slide.
Previous slide.
United States, the map of the United States. I know I saw those maps, but what was the orange? No, the green was
Can you tell him
California.
how
I
to
saw
get it
that.
back? Is there a little arrow?
I don't know. Well, wait, previous.
It was probably
Way to the left
which
bottom.
states were going down ballot
There you go.
again.
Okay, now,
Do it again.
Do it again.
Oh, that went all the way to the back.
There it is,
Yeah.
that, okay.
what's the green state and the blue state? What's
The
their
teal.
teal?
So I can't see that from here. Can somebody help me?
Hold on.
California and Oregon.
The yellow, gold is federal, statewide, and state legislative races. The blue, dark blue is federal races, and the teal is federal and statewide races.
Okay.
Was there a particular state that you were looking at?
Just,
No. Just to know, yeah.
just to know.
Okay.
Up there, there are dark blue. It's cool.
Here we go. Our current voter guide includes Williamson County races and 11 school board races in Texas, including Tomball, Klein, and Spring.
Yay!
This election is probably familiar to some of you. Sorry about that. We'll go to the next slide, honey. There we go. Congressional District 34 is in the Rio Grande Valley and has been in Democrat hands for over 100 years. The district is 84% Hispanic. The three candidates running were evaluated by iVoter Guide as a moderate Republican, a leans liberal Democrat, and a conservative Republican. And you know that when two Republicans run, it usually splits the vote.
Yeah.
Yes.
Myra Flores, the conservative Republican candidate, was the only one to answer the iVoter Guide survey, and she indicated she was strongly pro-life. There were 395,000 registered voters in this special election, and the voter turnout was 7%.
Jeez.
Over 3,000 voters in this district used iVoter Guide. Myra Flores won this three-way contest outright with 50% plus 263 votes, avoiding a runoff. She beat the second place candidate by over 2,000 votes. Next, we're gonna look at the Tennessee State Supreme Court election.
Where does it go now? I can't see anything. This is
Yeah.
supposed to play that video.
Yeah, there's supposed to be a play.
Here's your recording thing.
There's
That's
supposed
the
to be a
place.
play button.
Which one is that?
Um,
It used to be right in
yeah,
here.
it was right in the middle.
There's play. No, that's back. See if that plays. No.
Can you see what these are?
Try the three dots
The
on the
three
right.
dots.
That's the video.
Try the one next to
Yeah,
it.
try that one right there.
That's his video.
Yeah, try that.
Yeah, I'm just trying different things.
That's okay.
I broke it.
It's a,
It's recording
oh
it.
no, it's recording.
So you gotta unclick that one.
No, it's recording every word.
Yeah.
Kill it, kill
Unclick
it.
that one.
There you go. I can't see it from here.
Yeah. Go next to the bottom left. Okay, now unclick that one. And the one next to it. Yeah. Okay, now it'll stop.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I will find this one on iVoter Guide's YouTube channel and share it to the Texas Truth Movement Facebook page. It's a 3-minute video that explains the impact that a voter guide can have on flipping a state Supreme Court from a 6-to-1 liberal to a 6-to-1 Republican in two cycles.
So I can't get it go past the screen.
Meaning that it won't.
Try that,
it won't
yeah,
play.
try that.
Hit that button. See what
Hit
happens.
that one.
Okay.
Okay. So iVoter Guide believes that we can have an impact in local elections for these reasons. We can increase turnout to counter the activists, inform voters to reduce undervotes for lack of information, have a direct impact on who influences public education, track candidates who may go on to seek higher elected office, and combat the woke indoctrination of our children. That booklet, Whose Side Are They On?, is an ebook, and it's available as a free download on our website. Just go to the Take Action tab, click on the school board ebook, and you can also order printed copies for a nominal fee. So what's at stake? In the book of Nehemiah, when they returned to build Jerusalem, Nehemiah had each family work on the section of wall nearest to their home. Because of what is closer to our home, more directly impacts our families. The same is true with elections, and those that hit closest to home are those that directly impact our children. We've all seen how this situation has degraded rapidly in the recent past.
Oops. I lost it.
Yeah, go back.
Okay, as soon as I figure out how.
Up, all the way to the left. There you go. critical race theory and Marxist ideology, COVID-19 exposing the authoritarian power grabs, the New York Times 1619 project that rewrote American history. Our children are the most vulnerable and their innocence is being stolen. Transgender activism struck first with the push for boys to identify as girls, to use the women's bathroom, locker rooms, and even shared hotel rooms on school trips. The usurped rainbow on the pride flag that kept gaining more stripes as more identities were added. Then came the gender transitioning or indoctrination even in elementary school with the sex-less gender unicorn and library books like Gender Queer for the upper grades and I Am Jazz for the elementary, all seeking to normalize gender confusion. Next came the choice of pronouns and requiring you to use someone's chosen pronouns, all taught to kids in books like They, She, He, as easy as ABC. But just speech was insufficient, and the slippery slope expanded to gender-affirming care by first blocking puberty with hormones that cause sterility, and then even surgeries to physically mutilate their bodies to look like the opposite sex. Shockingly, there are thousands of schools where the school actively hides from the parents if a child is identifying as a different gender, and even claiming that a parent that does not support a new gender identity is guilty of abuse and reported to CPS. Maryland, I just read a story this week about the state of Maryland. It was just frightening. Over 10 million students attend schools where this is the case. So what are we going to do about this? It's for this reason that iVoter Guide started covering school board races, to equip parents to identify who's running for the school board so they can protect their children. There's a lot of work to do, but I'll show in our third case study, we are making an impact. This probably might be familiar to a lot of you. We first started covering school board elections in Texas in May of 2021, and a year later, May of 22, we covered the Katy ISD election. We have a very engaged partner, Rick Scarborough with Recover America Now, who equips pastors in the area to get their congregations voting in school boards for candidates with faith-based moral standards. And they were active in several Houston districts. You know, back to that Barna study about the churches being involved. In both 22 and 23, iVoter Guide was used by around 5% of the voters in those districts. And in all of those cases, the conservatives won by about 2 percentage points. That keeps being the story, right? 2 percentage points. Then in August of 23, just months after being elected, this new conservative majority school board passed a pro-parent gender priority policy. This policy is intended to provide parents full authority over their children's health and well-being in the classroom setting. Can you imagine that for Tomball? For Klein?
Be nice.
The new policy requires separate restrooms and locker rooms, requires the use of pronouns based on the student's biological sex, and prohibits faculty and staff from teaching or using instructional material related to gender ideology. The new board president, Victor Perez, said, "We raise our children to never keep secrets. Let's not keep secrets from parents. Let's encourage a culture of collaboration between parents and staff and make sure parents have full knowledge of what's going on with their child. After all, we have to remember that these children belong to the parents, not to the schools." This is the type of candidate we want to get elected to school board. This is our home page. And also, if you'll go ahead, forward chat, up in the corner there, if you click on that, you'll see that we now offer it in Spanish. This year, God opened a window for iVoter Guide to offer the website content in Spanish. Here are some examples of the grassroots getting excited to share iVoter Guide. Before we had any collateral of our own, we had some users send in examples of what they did on their own. Just paint our website name on their car windows, make homemade yard signs, and decorate a float in a local Labor Day parade. But iVoter Guide does not do any paid marketing. You may hear announcements on the radio, and those are public service announcements. We rely on word of mouth. 84% of people trust friend referrals over any other type of marketing. Because of the power you have to reach voters, iVoter Guide provides widely distributable neighborhood outreach tools. We have door hangers, yard signs, church bulletin inserts, and much more. Many resources can be downloaded to print locally or ordered online. We have a YouTube channel with over 30 public service announcements and 2-minute videos that can be shared in your churches and groups. I'm almost done. Voting is only the beginning. iVoter Guide can equip you to be salt and light in your community. In addition to the voter guide and resources on our website, you can find over 100 articles on education, motivation, and keen perspective on the issues that affect how you vote. To find out more about how you can get involved, click the Take Action tab at the top of our homepage. You can volunteer to become a panelist, do neighborhood or church outreach to get the word out about the voter guide, or become a partner. But above all, we ask that you pray for us. Tony Perkins with the Family Research Council wrote a piece earlier this month entitled, "How Should Christians Approach the 2024 Election?" I'd like to read his concluding paragraph to you. As believers, we understand that this earth is not our ultimate home. However, we must engage with the culture, including politics, while standing firm on the transcendent truth of God's Word. Paul tells the Ephesians to keep standing. We are called to stand whether the battle is in our favor or against us, knowing that as we remain faithful to God's truth, our actions in this life will echo into eternity. Will we turn this country around? We will work toward that end. As former President John Quincy Adams responded to a cynical question about the failure to end slavery after decades of trying, he said simply, "Duty is ours, results are God's." So let's do our duty. So you may have wondered, when's the best time to vote? iVoter Guide President Debbie Wolfnow wrote an article last month that was published in the Daily Caller. She wrote, iVoter Guide sorted through all the reasons for and against early voting, and the conclusion is casting a legal vote at any time is better than taking a chance that you might not be able to cast a vote at all. Voting on election day can be risky if there are any issues at the polling places. We all remember November 22.
Yes.
Yes.
When dozens of polling places in Harris County had issues with lack of supplies and machines that didn't work. And hundreds of voters left without casting a ballot. Voting early makes you less vulnerable to any unforeseen circumstances, personal or at the polls, that might occur on election day. So in conclusion, I invite you to share the voter guide, like and share our social media posts, sign up for our emails, and vote early in every election, and all the way down the ballot.
Yay.
Thank you. Before we start the Q&A, I have a cue for you guys. Before tonight, how many of you had ever heard of iVoter Guide?
Before tonight. In other words,
Yeah, before
in other words, we heard it before. We heard it before.
You knew of iVoter Guide before tonight.
From you.
From all the emails now.
I'm happy to take questions. Yes, ma'am.
What happens if you've lost your driver's license recently?
Did you
For vote?
Did you lose it?
Do you have a passport? Do you have a passport?
To go vote? you mean?
Yeah, I lost my driver's
Okay.
license.
So if I were you, I would go to.
I did renew it. It said 3 weeks.
I would go to harrisvotes.com, or I would go to the Secretary of State website and look to see what are the other items you can use instead of a driver's license. There are others you can use.
Passports.
Temporary printout.
I got my temporary pass. My thing. I got a
Concealed
passport.
carry card.
I got my concealed carry. I got them
That's
all.
good. That's all you need.
You're covered.
I want you guys to hear this. You can use your concealed carry permit. Everybody's got one of those, right?
Well, at least on the conservative side, the far left, forget them.
Yes, ma'am.
If I were to post something that's within the little pamphlet that you can download that's for free, but I didn't want to, give them information about how to download it. If I wanted to pull something out of that booklet or that, downloadable booklet and take a picture of it, can I post that on a Facebook page or?
All of our material is in the public domain.
Okay.
Do with it what you like.
Thank
Do a screenshot, drop it.
I need a moderator for.
Oh, you, Kathy.
Miss Blair, what kind of questions do you ask the candidates when you interview them, or what are on the questionnaire?
The questionnaire. We ask them their position on life. We ask them if they support the Electoral College. Actually had a Republican in South Carolina said, no, she's fine with the popular vote. That's shocking. We ask them about their position on the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, religious liberty, vaccine. It's 34 questions. And we don't always use the same questionnaire cycle after cycle. We make a few adjustments because it's whatever the voters want to know. What are the hot topics of the time? I mean, a few years ago we asked them about Sharia law. We don't ask that anymore.
I don't know. So did you ask them about the border?
That's important.
Did you ask about the border?
We do ask about the border. We ask it actually for both federal and state candidates, and a lot of state Democrats will punt and say that's not a state issue, and so they won't answer the question.
So what's the percentage of candidates that don't answer your iVoter guide, and what are your thoughts on the candidates that don't answer?
They just don't want to be on record
So that's what
across the aisle,
Right.
right? We know that there are Republicans who don't want to be on record what their position on life is.
What do you think? What does iVoter Guide think about school board elections becoming partisan in the future?
I don't know. That would be above my pay grade. If we had a conversation about it, I'd tell you, but I've not ever been privy to that conversation. iVoter Guide just pretty much takes it as it comes, right? It is what it is, and we're just trying to get you the best information possible. So I don't think we take a position on.
I'm getting insight.
Yeah. That's an interesting topic for conversation.
You said that it was in Spanish, so is everything on the website in English and Spanish?
Yes.
So the articles, the interview, everything's
Yes.
translated? Oh,
Yeah.
Great. Mary?
So you said you have an insert for churches to use in their bulletin. Do you actually get many churches that ask for that? And do any churches say, well, no, I can't do that because of my 5013C status?
I don't know the answer to the first part of your question, but the answer to the second part of your question is that we actually have 2 letters on our website that you can give to your church when they give you that excuse of why they can't do it. Because they're misinformed.
Yes.
They're very misinformed.
Yes.
They're scared.
That you had right before the website, I went to the website, talked about percentage, Christians without laws and everything. Is there okay when we get a copy of that? I think that's effective to tell people that, look at the small percentage of people that vote and agree with your fact. It was just one page right before the meeting, but.
We can either go back and you can take a screenshot, or I can send it to you.
That'd be great.
Or are those stats on your website somewhere?
Probably in one of our articles.
Okay. So the articles will have it.
Yeah.
So what do you do at iVoter Guide?
A lead researcher is in charge of 2 or more states, and it's my responsibility to fill the bus, to find all the information for you to look at. We have other people that are matching scorecards, but I match all the donations and verify that they belong to that candidate. We have people that are finding the endorsements, but I can go and look for more. I'm looking for public information. I'm contacting the candidate and asking them to please complete the questionnaire. Make sure we have their current website and contact information. And working with the volunteers to assign them to panels and helping them answer their questions about how to evaluate candidates. Was there a question in the back of the room?
Karen, did you have a
Oh, just
question?
right here.
Sorry, this is kind of irrelevant, but have you ever heard of an organization called VoteSmart?
I have, yes.
Years.
We do, we link to VoteSmart. Mm-hmm. If a candidate has a voting record, we'll link to it. Sometimes candidates will answer the VoteSmart, I can't remember what it's called, political courage. It's called the political courage survey or test, and it's basically their questionnaire that the candidate has answered. We'll link to that. We link to Ballotpedia's candidate questionnaire if we find it. So we're looking for as much information as possible. You can go to all these places, but we prefer to provide it all to you so you can only just come to one place and find it all right there. The Ballotpedia candidate questionnaire, I mean, it's the candidate's own words, so we do that. The thing about VoteSmart is, one of the things that VoteSmart does is it gives you what they call key votes. But every organization, liberal, conservative, that does scorecards, they're tracking that legislator based on the legislation that they're interested in. Okay, VoteSmart has what they're interested in. So what they've decided what are the key votes they want to communicate. So that's why it's good to have a wide variety of scorecards that you're looking at. Now, VoteSmart does not grade the candidate with the scorecard, whereas many of these, most all of these other organizations either give them a letter or a number grade, usually a number grade. And we aggregate that information. So for our panelists, they're able to see not only what each individual scorecard gave the candidate, but we give you a weighted average for that candidate.
Do you foresee a time, if we could get more people using iVoter Guide, that we could primary out some horrible Republicans who only get elected year after year that shouldn't even be there? Get the Mitch McConnell types out, the ones that actually serve the Democrat Party. Would that be something that we can really, a goal we can have, where people can go to iVoter.com and you put up a new candidate to go against the woke senator, we actually can beat them?
So shedding light always chases out the darkness. We only do the Republican primary. We don't concern ourselves with the Democrat primary. We do the Republican primary and the general. And as I mentioned in the presentation, the Republican primary is the more important race for you to vote in, because usually he's in a red district. And so it doesn't matter who he faces in the general. That Democrat's not going to get elected. It's going to be the Republican who's elected in the primary. So, and that's the harder one for you to discern, right? I mean, you have two Republicans. How are you going to tell the difference with data? And so, yes, I mean, iVoter Guides, to me, one of its biggest values to the Christian conservative voter is the Republican primary.
Get rid of the bad ones.
So, and we, I mean, our coverage is comprehensive. It's the same coverage that we do for the November election that we do in the primary. I'm just as busy for the primary as I am for the general.
Can you tell me, how did you pick Klein, Spring, and Tomball to, as of all these districts in the state, to focus on?
I'm not privy to how they actually made that choice. I mean, there were some metrics that they were looking at. I'm a Tomball voter. I remember 2 or 3 cycles ago there were Marxists running in Tomball, and I started talking to iVoter Guide about covering Tomball. So thank me.
Yeah.
I don't know that they would have ever, if it wasn't feasible, if they would have done Tomball, but I did pitch it. And we also covered the Harris County race with Alexandra Mueller.
Oh, yeah?
Because they wanted to do a couple of races, they wanted to do Dallas and Fort Worth, and I said, then we're going to do Harris County.
off of specific voter guide and educational topic, but in the circles that you talk to all the time, how concerned are people about this coming election and people that aren't citizens voting?
I can't say that it's anything that we talk a lot about, in staff meetings. I mean, I'm personally very concerned. I think that's the whole reason why the border is open.
That's right.
The only reason.
The only reason.
I mean, you can make an argument that they are the children that we haven't bothered to have, which is the same argument they've made in Europe. We do have demographic winter in America, so we do need immigration, but we also have sovereignty, and so that means this invasion of illegal aliens impacts your sovereignty, and that's the most offensive part of it all. I have opinions about everything. I'm sure you can tell.
Yeah, who is financing iVoter Guide?
The organizations that I mentioned in the beginning were Division of American Family Association, and then our partners, voters. I mean, you guys can donate to iVoter Guide right on the website. We have about 65 employees nationwide.
Did y'all send something out this year?
Did we send something out like
Email?
If you get on our mailing list, Debbie Withnow will send you lovely, nicely worded emails.
I was going to say, I think I saw something come through the mail because we were.
Yes,
in the
I
postal
forwarded.
mail, yes.
The mail.
Oh, I'm not aware.
In fact, we carried it today as we was to go vote, and I looked at this, and so when I saw this.
I'm not aware of us doing mailers. We usually do email because it's more cost effective.
So what was the reason to do it in Spanish, to get the Democratic Spanish driven, to look at the stats and vote Republican?
I'm not privy to the decision. I would imagine that what they did was then look at what is the second largest language spoken in America. And it's well known that legal Hispanics are conservative.
Cubans.
At least on the social side.
They don't want their boys to say.
Was there a question in the back of the room?
I was just wondering, you referenced Katie and, the big wins that you have there. Do you have any insight as to then why the school board election that happened in November didn't go that way?
No.
I personally watch these districts that have big conservative wins, and then the following election, there's a pendulum swing, and I'm wondering if there's a correction that lands somewhere better after that initial overreaction.
So in the early part of 23, I was involved in school board elections for that spring. And then I ended up going on medical leave for about 6 months. So I don't have any firsthand knowledge of what happened in that November election. I don't even know if we covered Katie.
That
So
might be why.
Thank you. I was fixing to say that. It could have been that iVoter Guide didn't cover Katie for some reason. I told you about there being 95,000. So there's 13,000 school boards across America.
We have 25 districts just in Houston.
And you said 95,000 school board members.
Yeah.
Which is why TASB and NASB get a lot of money from dues. All right, thank you very much.
Hey.
Do you know anything about these books?
Hold on. Okay. Let's see.
So, you want me to tell you the story that I told you?
Hold on. Yeah.